Alrighty. What do you think, Sue? We're ready to kick off. We have a couple of folks that are still missing, but hopefully those folks will join in soon.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
All right, folks. So thanks so much for joining us again today, for tuning into our Frontiers for Credit information session. My name is Andreas Armenis. I'm the Assistant Director of Pre-College Programs at WPI. I have some Zoom housekeeping tips for you all. So again, welcome. For those of you that are tuning in slowly and surely, feel free to add below in the chat what state you're calling in from. It's always good to know where our listeners are from. Our 20-minute presentation today will sort of give an overview of our program, and then we'll have a Q&A to follow, and that will be open to all folks to ask any questions about the content that we go over, or any questions that you might have from doing some perusal, some browsing on our website. Our Q&A conversation will work similar to the chat feature. So once you have questions, there's a chat feature option below that you can type your question in, and we're happy to answer those. Our hope is to get to all the questions today by the end of our hour. But if there's, for any reason we go over and there's not a question that we are able to answer, we're happy to compile a list of those questions and then share those out with folks along with the recording at the end of today's info session. So no need to worry, we will get those questions answered. And just a friendly reminder, all content that's referenced in today's information session is available on our website at wpi.edu/+frontiers. So all the information that we're referencing here today will be available on there, on our website for later use. And for many of you that may know, due to COVID-19, both Sue and I are going to be working from home. So I apologize for maybe some background noises or
Sue's dog barking.
Exactly. But bear with us, and we look forward to delivering today's info session to you all. So without further ado, I know I introduced myself. I'm super excited to be your co-host for today's webinar, but I do want to give the floor to the one, the only, our Director of Pre-College Programs, Sue Sankrath. So Sue?
Thank you, Andreas. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited that you're all here joining us for this webinar for the Frontiers for Credit program at Worcester Polytechnic Institute. As Andreas said, I'm Sue Sankrath, and I am the Director of Pre-College Programs here at WPI. I've been doing outreach for about 12 years on campus, and I'm really excited that we're able to offer you this wonderful opportunity to engage with us this summer. It might not be exactly what you were planning on for a pre-college experience, hoping to have an on-campus experience, but we really think that we have an opportunity here to give you a great experience where you have the opportunity to interact with our faculty, with other WPI students, with undergraduates, and certainly with peers from around the world. So we're really hoping that even though we're virtual, we're going to have an opportunity to bring you the true spirit of WPI and who we are as an institution, who our undergraduate students are, and who your potential peers could be in the future. You know, I'm a WPI alumna myself and also a parent of a WPI student, just graduated last year. And I'm really excited for all of you that you might have the opportunity to spend some time with us, get to know us a little bit more closely, and take advantage of this online opportunity. So I'm going to turn things over to Andreas, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about the program. And then I will be back after his presentation to help answer any questions you might have. And if you want to, at any time while we're presenting, drop those into the chat box, that's great. And we will try to get them all answered for you. So why don't you take it away, Andreas?
Awesome, Sue. Thank you so much. So I look forward to chatting with you all about Frontiers for Credit. So we're going to go a little bit about what the agenda for today's info session looks like. We'll talk a little bit about the program. We'll talk about the ins and outs, how it works, and what to expect. We'll talk all about the courses, some of the course offerings, a little bit about how those courses work. We'll also share a little bit about our wraparound services. So we have a variety of different wraparound services that we're providing free of cost to students and their families. And so we're really excited about rolling out those services in a virtual format. And we'll talk a little bit about the academic support pieces, the college readiness and access pieces, as well as student engagement as well, and parent and family engagement. So we look forward to chatting with you a little bit about those. And like Sue said, she'll be coming back into the conversation, and we look forward to answering any questions that you might have regarding our program.
Before you get started, Andreas, are we live on Facebook today, or?
I believe we are.
Okay.
We should be connected, unless Zoom is playing some tricks on us. Yeah. So, so without further ado, right? So about the program, Frontiers for Credit is designed for high-achieving high school students who are interested in earning potentially college credit this summer, as well as experiencing a very academically fulfilling WPI college course. So it's a 5-week online program. You have the ability to earn college credit. It's asynchronous. So what does that mean? That means any student from any time zone can really take advantage of this course, unless noted otherwise by faculty, but the majority of the courses that we do offer for Frontiers for Credit will be asynchronous. So it allows for a lot of flexibility, allows for you to be able to hop on and take that course and have access to that course content whenever is convenient for you in your time zone. You will also gain access to some of the complementary wraparound services that we chatted a little bit about before, and we'll dive in deep to what those are and how those are available to you. You'll also gain the experience and the ability to build relationships with current WPI faculty, staff, and undergraduate students. That's probably one of the most rewarding experiences or parts of our pre-college programs, is the ability to connect with our world-renowned faculty and then the staff that work at WPI. So there's multiple opportunities for that to happen this summer. And additionally, one of the a second most rewarding piece of our pre-college programs is being able to connect with like-minded folks from around the world. So the benefits of offering a virtual or online platform is the ability to connect with folks, not just around the nation. I know that many of you saw in the folks joining us today on the call, we have some folks from Illinois, we have some folks from the East Coast, but we also have some folks from the West Coast too. We will anticipate having a couple of international students as well in our Frontiers for Credit program. And so the ability to take classes and courses alongside folks from all around the world is one of the benefits and rewards of this program. So how does it work, right? So Frontiers for Credit will take place July 13th to August 14th during WPI's online summer session 2. Students will have the ability to register for a WPI online course of their choosing. From that point on, students will get an email from our office staff, will be placed in HERDs. HERDs are essentially a peer support group that is a mixture of high school students that are taking the summer session 2 courses, as well as some of our undergraduate peer mentors that are WPI students. And so students will have the ability to jump right on in and work alongside folks in those HERDs, as well as get to know and build community with folks in those HERDs. Students will also gain access to the free wraparound services that will really are in place for us to ensure student success throughout this online experience and make sure that you take the most out of your pre-college experience. The course, so the total cost for the program is about $2,148, and that also includes free wraparound services. There are also some additional costs associated with taking an online course, and those are just the textbook material or any additional materials that might be required for you to be successful within that course. And so those typically range anywhere between $100 to $200, but most of the time, what faculty do is communicate out what those additional costs, if any, are to students prior to the start of the courses. So, okay, we can take online courses, but what kind of courses are available? We have a list of 50 plus courses that are offered for online summer session 2. Here are some examples of some of our most popular courses that folks have been signing up for these past couple of weeks. We have Calculus, Calculus 2, Intro to Robotics, General Physics, Intro to Biotechnology, Intro to CAD, Intro to Material Science, and the list goes on and on. The majority of these courses here listed are of STEM discipline, but we do also offer humanities and arts courses. All of our course offerings are listed on our website, so you can see our 50 plus offerings right there and experience our course descriptions for each of those courses. So you can get to dive deeper into what potentially might be taught in those courses and how that might look like this summer. So about the courses, right? So academic overview. A typical WPI summer course is about 20 to 35 hours of class time throughout the 5 weeks of the program. So around 10 to 15 hours of homework time per week. On average, students in our class spend about 75 minutes a day on their course-related content, and then do homework for about 3 hours per day. Each of our courses that are offered during WPI Summer Session 2 are structured differently. And that's because it's up to the discretion of the faculty member that's really teaching that course. So you might have a different course that's formatted differently. It might include a lecture style course with some hands-on exercises. Another might include a lecture with some team projects and or labs, all of those of which will be delivered in a virtual format. So you're probably wondering, well, how will a lab look like online? So for our Intro for Robotics course, we are offering a lecture along with team-based projects that will happen in a virtual format. Our Intro to Robotics students will be requested to purchase an additional robotics kit that they will then use in a project setting and in a virtual team setting to help build alongside other team members in their course. So that's a little bit about the courses that we're offering. Let's talk a little bit about the wraparound services. So we understand that transitioning to an online setting in an online format, especially when it's probably your first time studying online, may be very, very difficult. So we want to make sure that we offer the utmost academic support to ensure your success throughout your course. We're offering a variety of different tutoring services. That includes tutoring sessions as well as homework hangouts. And those are going to be put on by our online program assistants, which are WPI undergraduate students that have taken similar courses in the past. And they're there and ready to help you succeed and any questions that you might have. Additionally, all our faculty host a variety of online office hours, and those happen at a variety of different times throughout the week. So students can take advantage of those office hours in addition to our tutoring services and peer mentorship services. We will organize these academic support services by HERD, and students will also have the ability to opt in to these services in a variety of different times throughout the week. We are aware that folks are going to be tuning in from different time zones, so our goal is to offer these at different points in time throughout the week. So say, for example, if someone on the Pacific Coast is tuning in or looking to tune in, we know that that's 3 hours behind from the Eastern time, so we're looking to spread it out in a way that folks aren't waking up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. just to hop onto one of our tutoring services or our homework hangouts, but that they're on at a fairly early time, and it's convenient for both of those time zones. In addition, we understand now more than ever with the current public health climate that starting to begin your college search process or even continuing with your college search process may be extremely difficult. We want to provide intentionality with the wraparound services that we are looking to have high school students take advantage of, and that's college access and readiness. We want to make sure that by the end of Frontiers for Credit, you know how to begin your college search process, navigate the collegiate setting, understand what it takes at certain schools, understand the admissions process, and really gain a 101 understanding and background of what that looks like, as well as feel ready and feel confident to really navigate what it's like to search for the right college of your choice in the current climate that we're in. We're excited to offer a variety of career exploration workshops or resume workshops to help build your personal portfolio. We're also excited to offer a college planning night for families and friends that are alongside you as you navigate this process. And then as always, we are looked to offer our admissions 101 session that is not just WPI specific, but can apply to any other institution. And we're also excited to offer our WPI admission interviews. These are optional opportunities for high school students, both juniors and seniors that are interested in one day applying to WPI. It gives them the opportunity to connect with an admissions counselor on our admissions team and learn a little bit more and build connections with them early on in their college search process. So that's a little bit about our college readiness and our college access pieces. So our student engagement opportunities are something that I'm very excited about. One thing that makes WPI the most amazing institution, in my opinion, is the community that we build each and every day around each other. Unfortunately, we know, as you said, we're transitioning to a virtual and online experience, but we're really looking to embody that same community that we build every day on campus, online, in our virtual campus, in our virtual community. We're looking to offer a variety of different student engagement opportunities for our high school students to take advantage of. This could include community service opportunities, potential programs like dinner with our Dean of Undergraduate Enrollment Services, e-gaming nights, virtual community builders that also include maybe a talent show, TikTok challenge. I mean, can I say, I don't have a TikTok account, but I know I see some really cool videos out there. So we're looking to potentially implement TikTok for sure this summer. As well as hosting a variety of different Minecraft and or other virtual gaming opportunities. I know there's a lot of esports tournaments that are existing out there, and we're looking to potentially offer some of those throughout the time of Frontiers for Credit. So what does a day in the life of a Frontiers for Credit student look like? I know that it might be still up in the air, but we have sort of a mock schedule for you all of how typically a student might go through our program. Please be aware that these time frames are based on Eastern time zone. So that does differ for folks that are on Pacific time zone or are joining us internationally. But hopefully we would hope that majority of your morning looks like you will be reviewing your course content and diving into that course material. We will offer sporadically throughout the day different drop-in tutoring sessions and homework hangouts with our online program assistants, as well as offer potential time for you to dive deeper into your labs or your project or your group teamworks. And then from there, we're looking at offering potential virtual herd hangouts. We are aware that we want this experience to be more than just an academically fulfilling experience, but also a co-curricularly fulfilling experience. And so we are offering a variety of different activities. One of the activities, like I mentioned before, is dinner with our Dean of Undergraduate Enrollment. And then also a potential Minecraft activity later that evening. All of these co-curricular opportunities are there for students to really take advantage of and build connections with folks that are in their herd groups, as well as current undergraduate students. So I know that I just went through a lot of information, and I can see the chat feature below, sort of getting excited. So without further ado, I'm gonna hand the floor, or the virtual floor, back to Sue to answer some of these questions for you all. So if you have any questions, feel free to add them into the chat below. So one of the questions, Sue, is about credits. So how many credits are given per each course?
So these are typical WPI undergraduate credits. And one of the things you'll find out as you engage with WPI more is that we are a pretty unique place, and that includes the way that we record or name our credits, if you will. So each course is in the WPI system called a third of a credit or a third of a unit, but that would be equivalent to 3 credits if you transferred it to another institution. So all the courses are the equivalent of a 3-credit course.
Awesome. And so I see another question in the chat about robotics specifically. Can you talk a little bit more about the Intro to Robotics course?
Sure. This is a course that was traditionally done with our students who are interested in the robotics engineering program. It's their first robotics course, so it has a combination of a little bit of computer programming and also mechanical engineering and a little bit of electrical engineering, so bringing that interdisciplinary aspect of robotics together. This year, they are looking into a couple of different robotics kits that they're planning to use. They haven't decided definitively which kit they're going to use. They're trying to find something that would not be overly expensive for students to purchase on their own. So I can't tell you which platform yet that they'll be using, but stay tuned and we should be able to get back to you with that information.
Awesome. So I also see here, can you talk a little bit about the grade system for some of the WPI undergraduate courses too?
Sure. So WPI is unique in that we have a grading system which is A, B, C, or no record, and that applies to our courses during the year. And this year, in our unique situation that we're in, we are just waiting to hear from the faculty if they're going to extend the grading policy that they had in the D term of this year, or the last term of this year, which was a system where the students could choose to either have the ABC system or just to go with a pass-fail system. So that will likely be extended to the summer students as well, and we will know that hopefully by the next faculty meeting, which is happening on May 20th. So.
Awesome. Can you also provide a little bit more information? Robotics seems to be a hot topic, not surprising at all. Can you please provide a little bit more information on lab work for robotics? What materials might be needed?
Sure. So from what I understand from the faculty, that it's likely that they are going to ask the students to purchase a robotics kit and potentially also a soldering iron if you don't have one at home, so that you can do some soldering and building of your robot. And then what will happen is there will be assignments, as Andreas mentioned earlier, both group assignments and individual assignments, where you'll be asked to complete certain tasks related to your robotics kit. So that will give you an opportunity to have that hands-on aspect of the course. And there will also probably be some virtual simulations that they'll ask you to do, so some really cool opportunities. Along those lines, I do see a question about if you enroll in the undergraduate robotics engineering course and you come to WPI, would you have to take it again? And the answer to that is no. One of the interesting things about WPI is that we don't actually have any prerequisite requirements or specific background requirements. So students have a lot of flexibility to build their course the way that they want it, even in robotics engineering. But this would be a course that most robotics engineers would want to take, and you will have already done that, and you will have already gotten credit. So participating in Frontiers is definitely giving you a jump on your academic career.
Awesome. And so another question we have here is it possible to enroll in a summer course and receive credit without being officially part of the Frontiers program?
It is absolutely a possibility. We think it's a great option if you participate in the Frontiers program as well. It's the same price whether you participate in the Frontiers program or whether you don't. So, you know, we have the E1 and the E2 terms. So some students are only available in the E1 term, and so they're choosing to take a course then, and then they wouldn't be able to avail themselves of the Frontier services. But certainly, you know, you're welcome to do that. And if it, you know, Frontiers doesn't fit into your schedule, we understand that. But certainly we're also excited if you want to participate with us and get some of the extra added benefits of doing so.
And so follow up to that is, are the activities mandatory?
So I think the way that we'd like to structure it is this is going to be, if you will, a choose your own adventure experience for students. So certainly we would love for students to participate in all of the extracurricular activities that we're going to offer you, or the co-curricular activities, but we also understand that that may not be a possibility. So what we will say is that certainly your coursework is mandatory. So you do want to review your courses, you need to do your homework, you need to take your tests. So all of the things associated with academics would be mandatory. And then the things associated with the Frontiers wraparound services would be optional for you.
Awesome. And do students have the chance to participate in research with the professor?
So during the summer this year, the students will not have a chance to participate in direct research because all of the courses are done asynchronously, and also because we're not in the labs this year. That is not a possibility during the Frontiers program. However, when you are a student at WPI, there are many opportunities. In fact, one of the opportunities for students who have just finished their first year is something we call an early research experience, where students will get to have a summer in the labs with the faculty.
Awesome. And so I see another question in here. Do you have a chemistry course? I know originally offered in Frontiers, but was curious to see if there's a similar offering for Frontiers for credit.
Yeah, they've decided to not offer the chemistry course this summer because they want to do justice to the labs that are typically associated with a chemistry course. And because we're not physically in the labs, there was a decision made to not offer the chemistry course this year. And because we have moved what we were doing in Frontiers, similarly, if you had done the Frontiers chemistry course, you would have done a lot of hands-on things in the lab. And we don't want to offer something that we don't feel is the full experience. So unfortunately, we're not able to offer that this summer.
And then there's another follow-up question. Is it necessary to have taken a college-level chemistry for Intro to Material Sciences?
Our recommendation, I know it says on the course description that it should be college level chemistry for that. Our recommendation is that you've taken an honors chemistry course or higher in high school. So there is some expectation of a solid chemistry background. But we would say that honors chemistry or AP chemistry would be sufficient.
Awesome. And so for the Intro to CAD course, is it only an intro course, or are there going to be more opportunities for experienced CAD users to grow in?
I believe that like most of our courses, and certainly I can get the exact information from the faculty, there'll be an introduction to SolidWorks. SolidWorks is the platform that they're going to be using. But if there are students who are more advanced in the course and have a lot of experience, that they probably can talk to the faculty about how they can take that advanced experience and move it farther along. If you have specific experience that you want to outline for us and let us know, we're happy to reach out to the faculty member and see what their recommendation would be about taking the CAD course.
Awesome. And so the next question here is, if I already paid for Frontiers, does the cost of Frontiers for credit roll over to that, or would I get a refund and then pay for Frontiers for credit? So I think the question is a little bit about what does a refund process look like for our original Frontiers program, and how does the payment process work for Frontiers for credit?
So we have made all of the refunds that for folks who had paid for the Frontiers program already. So if you didn't receive your refund, I'm going to ask you to email POP at wpi.edu because you should have received your refund, unless you paid by check, and then there's a little bit of a delay in that. However, we weren't able, because we're working in two different systems, we weren't able to roll over the funds from one to the other. So we did refund everyone, and then you would repay for the course in the new system.
And then the next question, I can help you with this one. The slideshow that was used for this presentation will be available. We will share it out with folks with the recording of today's webinar tomorrow after our information session. So that will be available to folks.
We have a couple of questions in here, it looks like, Andreas, on how do we apply or sign up for the program.
Yep.
So that is available on our website, but I'm wondering if maybe Nicole or Ryan would put a link to the registration form in the chat for folks. That would be very helpful.
Awesome, yeah. So the next question that I see here is it mandatory to take a class in the sciences and the humanities?
No, I think if you're familiar with our Frontiers program, that's probably traditional, right? That we have both the option for a STEM course and for a humanities course. Because these are 3-credit courses and pretty time intensive, we are recommending that students only sign up for one course. So either a STEM or a humanities course. Both are good and both are valuable to you, like I say, either here at WPI or at another institution should you decide to transfer them. But we are not recommending 2 courses, as that would be probably a heavier load for a high school student who hasn't taken a college course in 5 weeks yet.
Awesome. And so do you know what type of materials might be needed for organic chemistry?
I don't have a specific materials requirement. I'm sure that there is a textbook associated with the course. I don't know, but that's definitely a question that we can get answered for you. We'll put that one on the burner and make sure we get your name so that we can find out what additional materials might be necessary.
For sure. And then I see here, I think we have a couple more. I know my Q&A box has gone. We have a question about the intro to CAD, part of the Frontiers for Credit. Ryan and Nicole, do we have any more questions in the chat or the Q&A that folks need answered to?
No, there's no questions in the Q&A. Those have all been answered.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, and so I see another question coming in right now. So how does the process of credit transferring work
Sure.
from school to school?
So I'm looking at that question, and it's a 2-part question with a 2-part answer, definitely. So what we're going to do at the end of the Frontiers for Credit program is we are going to have students fill out a transcript release form, which will allow them to get a copy of their transcript. So you'll have an actual transcript from WPI, which lists the course that you took and the credits that you receive. The question about whether it's honored for corresponding programs is an individual question for each institution. So I can tell you how it works at WPI. When students ask to bring credit from other institutions to WPI, those requests go through the faculty, and the faculty review the course and they review the course material, and then they make a decision whether we're able to give credit for that course from another institution. So my assumption is that it would be similar if you're taking a WPI course and trying to get credit at a different institution. That being said, if you're looking to have the credit at WPI, the credit is there for you and available on your transcript when you start as a first-year student.
All right, and then we have another question in here. Will the classes be graded like a regular class at WPI?
So they'll be graded like a regular summer class. I mentioned earlier, the one thing we're waiting to hear is we've changed our grading system a little bit to support the virtual environment that we're in. So typically a class would be graded with A, B, C, or no record. And right now we are waiting to hear from the faculty if they're going to go with the grading system that we used at the end of the year this year, which was a choice for students to have that same grading system, A, B, C, or no record, or if they would like to go to a pass-fail in the grading system. So you can stay tuned and we'll get back to you on that. I think that's a great opportunity to bring up the fact that all of these courses have the option for students to add or drop in the beginning of the course. So the first week or so, I think it's maybe the first 4 days, students do have the opportunity to add or drop the course. So if you choose, you know, in the first couple of days to withdraw from the course, you can actually get your money back for that course and not continue if you decide it's not for you. So there's really no danger for you if you want to try it for 3 or 4 days and see how you like it. And then also up until just before the last week of the course, there is an opportunity to withdraw. Once it's past the add drop period, you would no longer receive your money back. However, if you withdraw from the course, then there is no grade associated with it. So that's another opportunity for students who maybe are not sure of what their grade's going to look like in the course or don't feel comfortable with getting a transcript. They also have that option to withdraw.
Awesome. And so how would it look like, how do sort of the admissions interviews look like for students that are interested in opting into those?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we're really excited that we're able to offer that opportunity. So at WPI, an admissions interview is an optional interview, so students are not required to do an interview, but we always say it's a great way for you to present yourself on a more personal level to the admissions staff, right? So you get an opportunity to tell the admissions staff a little bit more about yourself that's harder to put into words sometimes, and also the admissions staff gets to know you a little bit better. These would be your regular interviews for WPI, so you would not have to do another interview after that. The notes from the interview would go into your file, and then they would be reviewed by the admissions counselor who's reading your application. They'll be done online by Zoom, assuming you know, nothing has changed and there's no opportunities to come to campus. So they would be done online and you would be chatting one-on-one with an admissions counselor.
Awesome. And then we have a question about the HERDs specifically. So how are HERDs put together?
Yeah, great question. So what we're going to do is once you've registered for a course and we have your information, we're going to send you a form that's going to be an interest form. And we're going to hear a little bit more about you, what courses you're taking, what kinds of things you're doing at school now. And then we're going to do a little bit of a matchmaking on our end. So we're going to try to put folks together with common interests. And even though you'll have a herd where you'll be meeting together every night as a group, there'll also be opportunities to be exposed to different groups. For example, your herd might not all be taking the same class as you. So we may end up having homework sessions where all the robotics engineering students are together in the homework session. Or we may be having a virtual cooking night. And so you'll be together with different students who are interested in cooking or whatever, you know, if it's yoga night or whatever it is. So even though you'll have the herd that you'll be meeting with regularly and you'll have 2 students who are assigned to that herd and they'll be really your main contacts, you'll definitely have a lot of opportunity to interact with other students as well.
Awesome. And I think we have another question about potential fall offerings. So would you be able to provide one class on a weekend in the fall just to provide a campus experience?
That's a really interesting idea. We haven't gotten that far yet. We're still, as you can imagine, like many across the country, waiting to hear what our fall is going to look like. And, you know, our president is really very focused on doing her best to get back to normal here on campus within the safety guidelines, of course, of what the government is and the state is recommending. So we don't really know exactly what the fall is like yet. One thing I will say is that we do have open houses throughout the fall if we're back on campus and things are going. That's a great opportunity for you to come to campus. And I think this year would be a nice opportunity to try to wrap in a Frontiers for Credit reunion within one of those open houses so that students could come and get together, get to know each other in person.
Sure. Awesome. So I think that's all the questions that I see here on the chat. Unless
let's give folks another minute or two. I just want to make sure we don't leave anybody with questions. So
if you have any questions or thinking of things, feel free to pop those into the chat. You can access the chat feature below on the toolbar. Ryan, do you see any questions coming in on the Q&A side?
No, no questions there. You guys did a great job.
okay.
Awesome. So, I mean, if folks are, they're eating dinner later and they're like, oh my gosh, I really wish I could ask that. Oh, here we go. We have a couple more. Awesome. So would you, do we offer any scholarship opportunities for folks that are interested?
Yeah. So this year, unfortunately, I say yeah to the question, but I guess the answer is really no, unfortunately. This year, what we are offering for these courses is actually 50% off of our normal tuition for a summer course. So we are offering this to high school students to get college credit at about half the price that we would normally charge. So unfortunately, in addition to that, we're not able to offer any scholarships this year. But we hope that that credit would be a nice advantage to you. And then there's another question right below that, Andreas, that I want to address because it's, I want to make it really clear for everybody who's listening. These are WPI college courses. So these are not high school equivalent courses or courses that were made specially for the Frontiers for Credit class. These are WPI undergraduate courses. So they're a college level course. So if you've taken pre-calculus in high school and you want to move on to calculus and you want to get a jump, this calculus would be the same as if you were taking an AP level calculus in high school.
Awesome.
I think I see something in the Q&A too.
Yeah.
If we registered for Frontiers, is it necessary to reapply? No, actually, that's the good news. So we are not requiring anyone to submit any additional application materials. This is a registration process. We have an open registration process for our summer courses, and so we're allowing folks to follow that process. And what we're doing, and that's part of the reason that we're really interested in offering these wraparound services, is we don't want to just leave someone out there having registered for a course and then feeling kind of like they really can't navigate that course or, are seeking other services, things like that. So that's why we really are excited to be able to not only have the high school students register for college courses, but then to provide them with the services that we can through the Frontiers for Credit program. So no additional application materials necessary. If you're ready to go, you can just go to the registration form and sign up for a course.
Mm-hmm. And just know that all folks that did, like Sue mentioned previously, all folks that did apply once upon a time and had deposited money for our Frontiers residential program, all those folks have been refunded. And then, like Sue says, all you need to do is just register on that new form that was provided earlier in the chat. You can also find that form on our website as well.
And again, there's a question about documents. There are no additional documents that need to be submitted. There will be a few forms that we'll ask you to fill out after the fact, just that interest form that I was talking about. But generally, there's no letter of recommendation required, no transcript needs to be submitted. And the funds are due at the time of registration. So that is one of the things that's necessary for this program is when you register, there's going to be an opportunity to go ahead and pay for the course right at the same time.
And I know we've received this this message or this question in the past about potential payment plan options. Unfortunately, we're not able to offer a payment plan for Frontiers for Credit. So like Sue mentioned, those funds are due at the time of registration.
Mm-hmm. To the folks who have questions about the Intro to CAD course, I will say, you know, I'm happy to reach back out to the faculty and get a better description of what we're talking about in terms of SolidWorks, but I would keep in mind that this is the basic course that most mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, civil engineers are going to use, and it is at the college level. So certainly if you've had some experience, but it's not much, likely this is going to be a more advanced course for you than you've had in the past. But if you want to just share, you know, I've had a year's worth of experience, or I've had a month's worth of experience, that will help us a little bit. Or if there are certain techniques that you've learned in the process, that will help us a lot to reach out to the faculty.
Yeah. And then I see another question here. The registration page asks if my child is a current WPI student. If they were admitted into Frontiers, does that qualify them as a current WPI student? And the answer is no to that question.
They should register as a high school student.
Ryan, do we have any more coming in on the Q&A side?
Looks like there might be one there.
Yeah, when is the deadline to register?
Awesome. Yep. The deadline to register is June 15th for Frontiers for Credit.
One of our goals is to make sure that we have all the right staff in place so that we can serve you best. And also, we're going to take an opportunity once we know how many students are in which courses to reach back out to the faculty and let them know who you all are and that you're going to be high school students taking their courses, just to make sure that they're aware of you all and that they can give you the best experience in the course.
Awesome. And I think that's it for questions. Oh, we have one more. Is there a cap on the number of kids in each course?
No, that's one of the nice things about the asynchronous courses. We can have a little bit more flexibility. What the folks who are managing the academics will do is they will add sections and I'm gonna have a caveat to that, except for the humanities and arts courses. So for the STEM courses, we won't have a cap and we'll be able to add staff and sections as necessary. But for the humanities and arts courses, we do limit those to 15 students. So you will see those on our website, and as courses fill, we'll either mark them as full or we will drop them off the website so that you wouldn't be able to register for them any longer. You want to grab that one?
Yeah. So the recorded webinar will be available to you via the email that you registered for this info session. So I will be pulling all the emails that folks registered with and sharing the recording via email. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be happening post webinar.
I think it looks like we're done here, Andreas. I think we've covered them all.
All right, and like I mentioned before, if you're eating dinner or tomorrow morning you wake up and you have a dream about WPI and coming to Frontiers for Credit, and you're like, oh, I wish I asked this question, you can always reach our office at pop@wpi.edu, and we are happy to answer any questions that you might have. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to connect with us. Below our social media handles, we're pretty active on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to connect with us on those platforms as we post regularly and share updates regarding our programs and some of the experiences of our pre-college alum. So be sure to follow us on WPI, POP, and you can find us on Instagram or Facebook.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming. We're so excited to have this opportunity to share our program with you. You know, we are passionate about doing this, and we love to offer summer programs to students and then eventually to perhaps see those students on campus. It's always so exciting for us. And so we were really pleased to be able to share this with you tonight. And hopefully we will see some of you virtually this summer. So take care. Bye now.
So thank you so much. Take care, folks.